Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Love of Life podcast. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Are you keeping busy with all the kids?
Let me see. Yes.
Yeah, you really are busy, aren't you?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. What are some things that we have going on with the kids lately?
We have kind of gotten into a bad, I will say, habit of doing like a tune time every day, which we call tune time cartoons. Not for long, but it has become like enough of a rhythm that especially our younger ones look for it and kind of get this like weird, they don't know what to do with themselves unless they can have that.
Right.
It's like drugs. They're like little addicts. So
Cartoons are like crack.
they are. Yeah, and it's not bad in moderation. And some kids, maybe it doesn't affect like ours, but it kind of begins to rob from their ability to use their imaginations and just play well and deep. So you were making that point the other day, and we said, okay, we've just got to cut it off. And in place of that, one thing that's already naturally kind of come out of that is the older kids reading to the younger kids in the time when normally they would watch something. I feel like I did a really good job with our kids that are now a bit older with reading to them really habitually. So they all love books. They still love to be read to. They enjoy reading on their own. And we want to cultivate that same love, right? In our younger kids.
Yeah.
And that happens by reading to them.
It does. It does. And if we don't read to them and they watch cartoons nearly every single day of their life, they won't have those taste buds to want to even do those things. So it's very important that we allot time to read to them or have their siblings, the older siblings, read to the younger ones. And just in a few days, we've already noticed a little bit of a difference in behavior, I would say. And also now it's kind of like the first day was a massive disappointment to the 5-year-old. And that was, we just had to work through some discipline stuff and everything. But after that, it's kind of progressively getting a little easier with attitudes and all of that is needed.
Yeah, it's like we don't want to be, no, you can't ever do that or it's bad. It's like, but the balance, and sometimes to get it back in balance, to do it here and there requires like a cutoff for a time. It's funny though how anything that's bad for us, like there's a parallel, I guess, of like sugar. If you just consume sugar, then your taste buds are only wanting, especially like artificial sugar. And then you lose a taste for things that are healthier for you. I feel like it's kind of the same thing with like easy entertainment or just because cartoons let you just kind of check out. You don't really have to think. It's nice. It's nice to have that. But if your whole diet is that, then you can't stick with the longer form books that come with a real richness.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that through the years I've really loved is reading with our kids. You form like inside information, like you recall things from books together that you experienced together. You remember certain lines, certain characters. Like there's almost kind of this built-in family camaraderie that happens from sharing books together.
Yeah.
And I certainly want our younger crew to have that too.
No doubt.
Maybe that's also kind of sorry, I'm like talking so much, but
it's fine.
I don't know. You got me started.
It's fine. Yeah.
When you
it's
have
a podcast.
When you have a spread of kids, then some kids are in a different season and phase of life, and others are in another, and like doing what you did with the ones. Some of that just becomes tricky, or like being in 2 seasons at the same time. Yeah. I'm sure we're not the only people who've experienced that. We have lots of friends that have.
What were you allowed to do growing up? Were you allowed to watch cartoons, just carte blanche whenever you wanted, whatever you wanted? Or was there restrictions between the ages of like, let's say 5 and young teenage life for you?
Yeah, certainly there were restrictions. Like I can't remember. I tell my mom all the time, I'm so sorry. I had a wonderful childhood, but I don't remember a whole lot of it.
I wonder if you'll be like that with our marriage.
I know.
It was a wonderful marriage, but I don't remember you.
I'll remember you. I just might not remember everything we did in all the years. Certain things stand out, but like when she asks me certain things, I'll be like, I don't remember that, but thank you. Thank you for pouring that into me. I know it's become part of who I am, but I just don't remember it. No, I do remember there being limitations. I don't remember what they were, especially through the summer. I think that's more of the time when because I went to school. I was homeschooled for 1 year. I went to public before that, and then Christian school after that. But yeah, there were limits, especially during the summer when we were home more. But I do remember coming home from school and watching, Full House and whatever, Saved by the Bell, the things that were on at that like after school time. But we didn't get to like the whole rest of the evening or anything. And we would do family movie nights. And I had homework.
Yeah.
Because going to school for 8 hours does not get enough schoolwork done.
The blessings of being homeschooled, I'll tell you.
Yeah, what about you?
You get to do school and get it done, and that's it till the next day.
Just watch TV?
Or so, yeah, that's it. That's all we did as homeschoolers. We just watched TV after that. No. Are you kidding me? Not in my household. No, there was definite amount of time that we could watch TV. Maybe not every day. Probably at a certain point in my life, Nintendo time was more of a big thing. And even though there was sort of like I can't remember what the time period was. There was like this period to this time period I could play. Mm-hmm. It's funny because no shade on my parents by any means. They did a wonderful job raising me. But it's almost like I wish they had just said no more often. Because I was so young, it was like I didn't really have the ability to say, hey, if I can play this every day or nearly every day, then I'm going to. I think that's a typical kid response. And there was definitely safeguards and time protections and things of that nature that I had growing up. But it was still like, I look back and I think, how many more books could I have read if it was just maybe every other day that I would have been allowed? So, but I'm also thinking, I'm processing that as a parent now, going, man, like maybe I'll do that with my kids, so that way and here we are going right now saying like maybe we need to dial back a little bit for these little urchins. So
yeah, well, none of us sit well with boredom, which like as an adult, do you even get bored? Because first of all, we're very busy. But also, we have these cellular devices that really mitigate any spare second of being bored unless we are vigilant.
Yes.
But
digital pacifiers.
Exactly. They really are. But boredom is such a great thing.
Yes.
Like when our kids will say, I'm bored. They have that listlessness. I'm usually like, great. That's awesome. Because you will come up with something wonderful to do.
Yep.
Because really, I mean, when you're bored, you think of things, you get ideas, you are stretched. We are stretched in our creativity or in what we can come up with. Like, boredom is not a bad thing. It's like kind of a gateway to great ideas.
Yeah.
So if you're not letting your kids be bored, you might want to think about that. We are trying to increase the boredom around our house.
Yes. More boredom, more imagination.
Really, truly.
Yeah. It atrophies the imagination to just always stare at a screen.
Yeah.
It just does.
It does.
Yeah. But this is not even what I wanted to talk about tonight.
Oh, what do you want to
talk about? It's not. But before we do get to the topic we want to talk about, our last video hit a ton of views. And I think it's because we had a thumbnail of me and you and standing next to Joe Rogan, which I think made people go, because of the way that we titled it and everything, made people go, the way I titled it. Okay, yeah. But I think people went, oh, I think they might have interviewed Joe Rogan, which would be a complete like, whoa, nobody gets to interview Joe Rogan. What are these two cats doing?
Has anyone?
What are these people? I don't think so. Not in the last 5-10 years. I don't remember anything he's ever been on. He's always on his own podcast.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the things that I'll just let our audience know is that I went and saw like the watch time for our last video, because I think it was like 25 minutes, 30, whatever it was that we talked. Our watch time was like a minute. On average. Now, granted, I'm sure there are a few people we have that listened, and thank you for watching the whole thing or listening to us. That's great. But yeah, it was like, I bet you so many people just clicked on that thumbnail just to see did they get it? Did they get him on their podcast?
Well, sorry if you feel cheated if you listened for just a minute and were like, an interview.
I'm not sorry. They didn't listen to the whole podcast.
Oh, all right. Yeah, he was on later.
He was on later. You got to watch the whole thing. Stick around to the end. No. That's right. He Skyped us. No, Skype's gone. Cool. Skype is gone. Did you know that? Yeah, Skype is gone. Yep, it'd have to be Zoom or our other.
Did Zoom take it over?
Somebody took it over. I can't remember. No, it wasn't Zoom that took it over.
They buy it out or just
somebody bought it out. I don't remember the details. I just know that it's completely gone.
And I can't say that I use Skype.
I did for some clients, but whatever. What we want to talk about right now.
Get to it.
AI. Okay, so this is like the conversation of the day.
Sure.
In fact, I'm a voice artist. You know this, but I'm a voice actor, and I'm doing an audiobook for a client right now, and it's about AI and Jesus, and it's very interesting. But
Yeah.
like everybody's talking about
Can you tell
AI.
us about that, or is that like proprietary information?
Some of it's proprietary, but I will say for those that are familiar with the work of Lee Strobel, The Case for Christ, The Case for Faith, it's like there's a lot of argumentation for the historical, archaeological, and now even like proof that Christ is who he says he is, and historically he's the Lord. But he also, the book basically starts off with this guy did a search on AI and asked either Grok or ChatGPT, what out of any religions, if you were to pick a religion, what religion would you pick and why? What would be the truest religion? And the AI bot, or the AI, basically stated that Christianity would be, and it gave historical reasons as to why Christianity is the religion that would be found to be true, and that it would be the one that it would pick as the most credible, which is very interesting. So the guy wrote a book about it. I'm doing the audio for it, and it should be coming out probably in the next few months.
And then you told me how many people. Well, Christianity is the number one religion.
Christianity,
in the world.
Yep. We looked that up recently. There's approximately, we did this on our podcast last time. There's about 8 billion people in the world.
Why are we all about these stats? I don't know.
I like stats.
It's interesting.
I like data. There's about 8 billion people in the world. There's roughly 2.4 billion Christians.
That's pretty cool.
It's the number one religion as far as just numerical, which is pretty good considering it started with like 12 dudes in an upper room 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, not bad.
You know, post-mill hope is looking awfully good these days, numerically.
It is. Now, what is the post-mill hope? What does that mean?
That the word of God, that Christianity will spread across the earth, and that it will be found to be true that Christ rose from the dead, and more people in the end, whenever the end of time will be, we don't know.
Which is probably not close.
Which is probably nowhere near close, but that Christianity will be the conquering religion and will essentially be what most people will believe and follow. And that's, there's plenty of verses. Again, this is not what I want to talk about. Psalm 22 says, all the nations will remember and turn to the Lord, and all the families will bow down before him, for dominion belongs to the Lord, and he rules over the nations. That's in our space-time reality. That is something that will happen in this world before the world ends. So,
yeah, it's almost like the Great Commission.
Yeah.
That we're left with as believers. Go out into all the world and make disciples, teach the nations obedience. Not just tell them the gospel, but like they will be converted, they will obey it.
That's right.
It's almost like that's going to happen. Like we're supposed to actually do that, and it's possible to do.
Yeah.
Which it's funny because before I had that understanding of Scripture, it was like, yeah, the Great Commission, we're supposed to go and tell all the world. But like just go and tell seemed like all that was important there. But then it's realizing, no, it's teaching them, making disciples. It's talking about conversion. It's talking about people really coming to know the Lordship of Jesus Christ and obeying his word, which is just a different understanding. If you actually think that what Jesus told us to do is possible to do, then you're post-mill, even if you don't know it.
One day the world will all be post-mill. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Once we get past our interesting eschatological differences and beliefs and bad teaching. One day.
True.
One day. But anyway.
True. Yeah.
Anyway, well, you and I have been having this interesting discussion about AI, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of have an in-house debate.
We do.
It's not that fierce of a debate, but it's a debate between you and I.
We see it differently.
We see AI different. So let's just say this because it's the big conversation. We're almost we're 14 minutes in here to the podcast. This is the topic that we wanted to kind of discuss tonight, but I guess it's a plethora of topics that we're going to go over. That's fine. But what do you see AI as being in the next, let's give it 5 to 10 years?
Okay.
And why are you not dystopian about it?
I'm not. I mean, I am naturally an optimistic person, so take that as you will. Mm-hmm. But I guess, I don't fear what AI will become. I don't think it's a threat to humanity. Do I think that it will take over some sectors and some jobs? Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. But along with that, like if you look back in history, anytime there's been something that's disrupted the market, that's been made some jobs obsolete, no longer matter, it doesn't mean that then people don't have anything to do. People find new things to do, sometimes around that very thing, instead of, people hand weaving, then there are people who maintain the cotton gin or whatever, the thing is. So there are some jobs that are created because of the very thing that is created. More people to teach AI, more people to, coders, and will there be more computer related AI jobs? Perhaps. But the other thing is then people are freed up instead of doing tasks that are replaced by automation. Like we do not have to spend all this time hand washing all of our dishes and all of our clothes and letting them dry outside and that kind of thing, because we have modern conveniences. So then what do we don't have anything to do because we don't spend all our time washing our clothes and our dishes. Like, no, we do other things. So I think it's going to be similar. Like some things are going to be streamlined and faster and convenient, and it's going to free humans to create more things, to do more things, to think up more things. And I think that we can harness the gathered knowledge that AI affords us and use it to our benefit. Because the thing is, you can interject wherever you want, it's got a lot of information and it can sift through information faster than we can. Like I don't like to, if I'm interested in a recipe or a product, like I'm not going to go out and read blogs and people's opinions anymore, because I can just go to AI and it can look at all sorts of different things, factors. I can give it whatever filters I want. It's like having a really, really, really smart assistant that you can give all the words to, and it will analyze and compare and break it down for you and then give you a best recommendation. It's amazing. It can do, and okay, I always think like, really, I'm using this like super powerful thing to like help me pick a product, or, like my uses seem like not nearly as important as probably the creators are like, somebody's going to cure cancer or do something really fabulous with all the information that's out there. And I'm using it for like just my own needs. But anyway, I think we can harness the power of it and come up with useful and interesting things. But AI is never going to think of things on its own. So it's going to need a human prompt. It's going to need a human to drive whatever it's curating. Like it's a curator. It's not a creator or an inventor. It's not coming up with things on its own because it cares. Like, oh, it really wants to know how to do this or that. It doesn't care. It's not a person. We are made in God's image. We are totally different than AI. And furthermore, even though now there is AI that can have a voice and communicate back and forth with you, and it is impressive. When you talk to Grok and like ask questions, and it's even got like a human sounding voice, and it'll get your humor and be like, I see what you did there. Yeah. It's amazing the things that it picks up on in what you say. It knows when you're being sarcastic and funny versus like when you're actually being informational.
Will husbands be replaced by Grok?
But AI doesn't enjoy conversation. AI doesn't.
So we're not talking about, but we're not talking about sentient AI here. We're not talking about it being truly Terminator-like. We're not saying that, but here's the thing, and you just brought it up. You brought up that man will control it, and I agree to a vast majority of that. But we know that sinful man, in his capacity of who he is the businessman, the corporation. They are about one thing and one thing only: profit. That is what they care about more than anything. So if you have an AI that can do 80%, I just threw out that number, of the tasks that were now done by, let's say, 100 people in your office, and you only need 2 of those people now. Because those people can manage the AI bots to do all of the Excel spreadsheets and all of the various formatting or whatever is needed to keep the books or whatever things of that. And there's various jobs here. We could break down different segments of jobs and such. But just generically kind of speaking, within a corporation, most business owners are going to say, we will get rid of 80% or whatever the number is. And we'll keep around some people. Yes, people will be needed to an extent. But I think up ahead is, here's the thing. Nobody knows what's up ahead. There could be an iceberg. There might be a utopia, right? So I'm not completely dystopian about the whole thing.
Why do you think, though, that there's like a need to be like, oh man, it's going to be like, you kind of think there's going to be a bad disruption.
Yeah.
Because you think there's going to be so many jobs that are lost.
I think that like we're going to, in the next 5 to 10 years, potentially see a massive fragmentation of jobs that are needed as opposed to jobs that are now allocated and taken over by an AI that is superior to menial tasks. And we're just kind of talking about AI. We're not even talking about the robots that are supposedly, probably, and I've seen some pretty interesting demonstration videos of these robots that can dance, that can flip over burgers, that can do all these things. Let's just say the world really looks like the Jetsons or whatever in the next 5 to 10 years. And lawn care companies are now composed of mainly robots and the owner, because you won't need the hired hands of a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old, whatever, getting his first summer job to go help with lawns, making $15, whatever they make, 15, maybe $20 an hour. All of a sudden, you got Tesla robot factory numbers 78764 out there just doing his thing. And then you don't have as much of a workforce. And then I would also include, what about all the janitorial services that are there as well? If we have, again, when we're talking AI, we're not just talking about what's on our phones right now or the computers. We're talking about the merging that is going to happen between AI and robots. And in that, all of a sudden you've got potentially a robot, according to Elon Musk and many others, that can watch a YouTube video, see it, learn from it, and in seconds fix your kitchen sink or fix things. So all of a sudden, how many handymen are now coming from Amazon.com because Amazon has got their greedy hands in the robot business, and they send a robot to your house for a minimal cost of a couple $100, and they can fix almost anything in your home. All of a sudden, you've eliminated how much of the potential workforce of various entrepreneurs and small businesses over the course of just a few years. It will decimate
we'll
the
see
future.
How long. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're still going to need people to manufacture the parts for these robots, to repair them, to build them, to market them.
Are you saying a janitor who's been doing janitorial work for 25 years is going to completely flip his industry, and all of a sudden he's going to become an AI expert, and he's going to know how to fix a robot?
He might not do that.
He won't be doing that.
But there will be other people that
What's he going to do?
Well, I don't know what he's going to do, but perhaps...
That's a lot of he's, by the way, and she's, who have that kind of job.
It is. Okay, so he might not get to be a janitor anymore. Maybe he'll cry about that, and maybe he'll be like, cool, I was tired of cleaning anyway. Now I'm going to
do what?
People will have to think of new things to do. They will.
Yes.
But there will be new needs in the marketplace, even though some are replaced. And seriously, the Jetsons, it's like there's such a lack of personal flying that I think to compare anything to the Jetsons, I automatically just go, yeah, they were so wrong. We are not hovering about and flying everywhere for our day-to-day
We're not hovering and flying, but we are going to have assistant robots in our homes to clean, do our laundry, do the dishes.
I think that sounds great.
Nanny our children, perhaps.
I understand. Your initial concern is that people right now, if their jobs are replaced, they won't know what to do. Not that people will stop having jobs, because there will be other jobs.
Sure.
It's just those people whose industry is disrupted.
I don't think we're looking at, again, we're not looking at Terminator future world where the bots all of a sudden unleash havoc on humanity and they kill us all or something. I think that's a whatever pipe dream from somebody like a James Cameron who wants to make a film or something. I don't see that at all as being the future of the world, but I do see it being a very interesting, cool technology, but also massively disruptive to many people. So, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a voice actor. I've been doing voiceover work since about 2017. And it was just kind of a rumor and a thought that voices could eventually be synthetic enough and sound good enough to replicate the human voice. And through various companies, we are getting to the point where it is very close. It is not there yet, but it is very close to the human voice. And I have personally, as I know many other voice artists have, lost lots of clients in the past just 2 years alone that are, I'm not losing my work to another voice actor, but I am losing it to a synthetic voice that somebody got for cheaper from a company. That and within that company, you've got a couple hundred people. They're not voice actors. They're not people that are creative sitting in a studio in their basement. They're not somebody that I'm going to go to work for tomorrow. Right. So they're essentially opting for a cheaper fake version because it's good. It's not, I would not say it's great, but it's good, and it's good enough for some companies and for some people to use. That's just one industry. That's just one industry that I'm a part of that I see.
Will it eventually take over all of voiceover? It might.
It probably won't. It probably won't take over all of it.
It's also like what we talk about movies, like CGI took over a lot of practical effects, and so then you're talking a lot of people don't have their specialized jobs anymore. But when we look at movies, like you can tell when it's CGI and it doesn't look as good. It doesn't look as real as if there's practical effects. When people still do practical effects in movies, it's more exciting. It's more interesting to watch. Even though CGI is good, I mean, it's not where it was like, in the 80s. It's gotten so much better, but still, like, there's a quality of fake that it has. Or they just, because they can do things that are like unbelievable, they push it and they do unbelievable things. But then you're like, I know as a human, that's just so not possible that I can't even buy it. It's like every action movie is then like sci-fi to a degree because it's not really possible. We want things to look close enough to our own personal experience, but like, whoa, you wouldn't really do that, but not superhuman, or it takes it to a different realm. I think there will be an overuse of AI in various forms and in movies because they can make AI video now and people talk. You showed me a video where the people like talking throughout like this whole little commercial are all fake people and fake talking.
I showed you that video first with no explanation ahead of time, and I showed you and I just let you watch it.
Yeah.
And you watched it and you're kind of like shrugging your shoulders. Okay, why are you showing me this? Yeah. And I said, those were all fake people. That was all AI. And you're like, what? Are you kidding?
Yeah,
that's how good. So
real.
They say the rumor is, or whatever. People say it's not even a rumor. It's just they say Tom Cruise is the last action actor or whatever. I think that's really just a marketing ploy by him and his people. I think, but he really might be.
He's also got a savior complex, so it wouldn't surprise me if it came from him.
Great actor though, nonetheless.
Yep.
Love his movies, most of them. And so, but here's the thing. So you got Tom Cruise, who's an actor who spends a lifetime jumping out of planes, running on the screen, doing all these very interesting exploits that, yes, as a human being, it is fun and interesting to watch another human being do that. Okay, but what happens when it's indecipherable, when you can create an AI who can do all the flips, do all of the lunges, do all of the punching out the bad guys and jumping on planes, whatever, and can essentially have a love interest and talk and do all that, but the whole thing is completely fake, and it looks pretty good on the screen. Like, what happens then even to the acting industry when that goes on? I mean, this is like this got to be freaking Hollywood out.
There will be ripple effects. I think some things will be consumed and taken over, but I also think there will be an overplay in the beginning. And then people will go, like, whenever there's something new, when there's filters for your pictures, people go filter crazy. And it's like, you see all these pictures that are like oversaturated and everyone thinks they look awesome at first. Then after a while, you're like, this just looks fake. These filters are too much. So then people don't use the filters, or they just adjust things slightly, or they don't use the full filter. Like, I think there will be people go a little AI crazy, and then they're like, this doesn't ring true. And we want to watch things where we're more entertained by things that ring more true. But it might allow this collaboration of some real humans still and some fake people to do things that just you couldn't ever imagine before. I think there's a line you could ride to use the technology to make something superior, but not to completely obliterate human involvement. And again, humans have to be the ones that are like thinking it up and making AI do it, create it.
Yes. So what happens in 5 to 10 years with the majority of the workforce who is reliant on a specific industry that is potentially taken over by AI/robots? What happens to those
Well,
people?
maybe that janitor that loses his job is like, you know what? What I really have wanted to do all these years is be a chicken farmer. Now I can use AI to help me figure out how to get started and pursue my dream of chicken farming because AI cannot produce eggs. There still needs to be chickens for that. I don't know. I don't know initially what happens to those people, but I think there will be new jobs. And like I am a part-time graphic designer, and that is an industry that could be taken over by AI. I mean, like people that I work with will use ChatGPT or whatever and be like, this is the image I'm thinking for this thing that I want. I used ChatGPT to create this. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like you've got me a starting point already, or if you like that image for depending on what it is. But there's still like brand consistency and there's still like things that I do as a human that maybe you could teach AI to do eventually. But at least the way that my company is looking at it for now is to say, let's use AI to make our work better, sharper, faster, but like keep the humans to manage the AI. And we talk about, hey, when did you find a good use for it? It can cut out some of our legwork for certain things, or even if you're comparing fonts, you could use AI to help you cull them and figure things out. Doesn't necessarily mean that you are not necessary anymore because you're still a brain that can think about this and that and utilize AI to help you pull things together in a faster way, but not take over all your strategic thinking. Because you can't just say, okay, think about every aspect of this ongoing. You have to constantly be feeding it information for it to keep up with what you're wanting it to do. It's not self-directed. Could you write a code to make AI completely self-directed and maybe eventually, but I still think there's a human aspect of knowledge and humans are still different.
We are different, that's true. But we'll see.
We'll see.
We will see.
We'll see.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think AI will take over most of the industries and many, many, many people will be left jobless? Or do you see the world as little Courtney over here who thinks everything will be fine and hunky-dory in the end? Let us know. You can write us down in the comments if you'd like. That would be great. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's about it for now.
Yep.
Is that good? Okay. All right. Thank you very much.